Focus. I think, Coach put a lot of emphasis on it. I mean, we all emphasized it about being smart at the point of attack, and we just did a better job, and lucky we didn't get a lot of penalties too. Luck as well. Go ahead.
I know we've been talking about it every week. Do you feel Butker's progressing even despite the extra point?
Yeah, I do. We're going to keep working. It's just about focus, on the little things. The short field goals got to be just as much focus as the long field goals. And, he's been solid in practice, and we're just going to keep grinding on this thing.
You mentioned you guys were going to do more short field goals a couple weeks ago. How is that going throughout the
Good. I mean, he's been making his field goals in practice. It's just about focus and really dialing in on the short ones, and and getting that consistency back game in and game out.
Just on the point after, it looked like he struck it in a really awkward way. What was behind that, and how coachable was that?
You guys got to. I mean, that we changed his technique. That the leg would break down. Before, and he's still like, it's like changing a golf swing. You revert back, and he kind of reverted back. The leg broke. It collapsed a little bit, and it makes him spin out a little bit more. So he can't revert back to that anymore. We're trying to keep that thing's, more rigid and stiff. So he's finishing downfield. That's really what it comes down to. That's it in a nutshell. And he keeps working on that, and that's about focus, about focusing every time, with his technique.
Dave, how much of this do you feel like is a mental battle?
Yeah, it's mental. I mean, it's all mental. That's what I'm talking about, focus. I mean, it's you got the technique, you practice it 1,000 times. It's just about repeating it, not letting that bad, old technique kind of creep in. And if anybody played golf, it's the same thing. It happens. So
this is a major part of coaching, but how much of it is kind of let him be and not maybe put more information in his head versus coaching?
I kind of, I lay back. I let him figure it out. Because he knows when as soon as he missed it, he knew exactly what happened. You don't need to sit there and get over on the net with him and crank it on him, and he came back and he bounced back and he made all his other kicks were great. Every one of them was right down the middle. So we just got to keep pounding it, and he'll get better and better. And by the time we get to the most important games, he'll be Butker.
Dave, block kicks are up across the league. How have you managed to avoid being part of the block kick?
You work on protection. I mean, we've had some issues where look like we had some leakage, and we've got lucky a couple times. You just gotta nip it in the bud. When you see a problem happening, you gotta correct it, and that's what you do. And then Butker, he does a good job getting that ball up. So if we do have a leakage, he can clean it up by his, how high he hits the ball. So that helps as well. And then, the punter, he gets it off quick. So that helps clean up some things too. So all those things, help.
We're going to go last two to Pete.
What does Rasheed's return mean for Thornton, potentially in special teams?
Thornton's going to, I can use him a little bit more now, which would be great. He's a threat as a kick returner and punt returner. Also in the coverage, kickoff coverage, he's got a lot of speed. So, we're going to have, there's a chance we could have 7 wide receivers up. So, 6, 7, or 6, 5, 6, and 7 got to help you somewhere on special teams. Otherwise, you're just wasting spots. So that puts Thornton back into that spot, as you guys understand.
Coach, I know, believe in Harrison. Have you gone through a time as a special teams coach where you had to bring in maybe a mental coach or a kicking coach to help you one out? And I don't see you kind of laying back on this one, but
I never have. I've called people before. I said, hey, take a look at this guy's technique and tell me if you see something. I'm not afraid to check my ego at the door at all. If I'm having issues, but I don't think we're there, honestly.
And when things are going well in practice, that leads you to believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yep. That's my that's my answer. I'm not, no.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
With that?
Nah, this is fine. It's too much.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
development. I think she does a radio.
Yeah.
Before or after. Well, let's do more than that.
We're really running out. It's good afternoon.
No, it's fine. As long as it's-
Taylor, I'm surprised you're not.
I wish I was an Auburn.
I referenced you on this podcast. I said, wish I didn't have my picture taken with a rug or whatever it was. And Katie's like, no, it's not a rug, it's an elephant.
Big Apple? Yeah. Aubie's the best though.
Really?
Literally. Like, I think it's one, however many national mascot
Really?
competitions.
Yeah.
Big Al's got it.
I'm not sure I understand why they have an elephant as a mascot.
I've never been, to be honest.
Dave was gonna laugh.
There you go.
No, there it is. Yep,
They never say anything about like, go
You run
elephants.
by the snow, you can't miss these days.
I was at a bowl game when I was.
He's sprinting up the bluffs too, man. He's like,
Air
I got
Max,
something
like,
like
how to get the
Look
big
at Joe.
fish.
Heart rate when he gets
I
out.
don't know, I'm not a historian, I coach football.
It was a
The Russian?
paper, oh yeah, paper writer, yeah.
How'd you know?
That wrote something about like, there was so much,
Looks like you've done all cut.
right, clay in the dirt, or the clay in the.
Yeah.
I think it was,
Get a million of them.
they played in the Rose Bowl, and the national writer said that Tom,
It's just not as fresh as
were everywhere
the
the
last
team had
yesterday.
was running,
Yeah.
there they were, it was a crimson tide or something.
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
them.
that feels
Yeah,
right.
you do.
Feels right. But it's what they said before that,
In the back.
you know?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Matt, you should take.
Elephants.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
No, I don't know.
It should, actually.
Well, so I was going out there, got tied. And so they got the two head coaches together. The trophy.
Yeah.
I'd be stunned.
Me
if
and
I
our
had a
coverage.
different
Both standing there. So pissed off.
That was
shirt.
Bear
It's
Right.
like-
Yeah. Classic.
Same guy's cut it for 30 years.
No,
Exactly, see? I'm not even sure you really need to come to this, but players falls.
it's a poor Mizzou.
Oh, I've been cutting hair ever since COVID.
Really?
If they're on the internet.
They lost that one.
Seems like a haircut's going up every week.
You know what though?
25.
Didn't
30
hurt.
bucks,
Because
35 bucks.
I just came in on the last minute.
Murray.
Those are expensive ones for
The committee's gonna see that.
Blameyer ran by 2 minutes ago, Jesse, so.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Auburn.
So, just so you know,
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
And then
I think they'll win.
Vanderbilt stash.
Right, that's tough. That's not easy.
Dash,
Mini
mini fro.
We'll
Yeah.
see about
Let's practice
that.
with they
Since they,
Yeah,
once
you and
Vandy
I
done since they
when is
lost to
that?
Alabama.
Start.
They were the higher.
We're gonna play this last week.
right now.
Missouri's
The thing is wrong,
quarterback,
yeah,
Missouri
it took it
Ball down.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to say medical actually.
They played an 18-year-old who's barely had a
The actual interview part is their leg.
Yeah. Well, 15 hours.
I was in high school in the 90s. The 1999, 2000. Yep.
03 grad?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, some people call freshmen.
Freshman, is freshman high
Play
school?
golf yet?
I know in some states it's like,
Around here it is, yeah.
yeah, like, in some states it's like
I feel
10 to 12. Yeah.
Some places that'd be still junior high.
Can you, I mean,
Yeah.
You were in a backward state of Tennessee, so.
I did,
When
go back
did
to
you
the
grow up?
gym yesterday.
Nashville.
for the first time?
Second time, the first time, I had to cancel the next day, because I was like, oh, today.
Harsh. My mom's from Murfreesboro, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's very humbling.
So you went to
There's a golf league in, so
Oh,
I think we're gonna start
yes.
playing golf on Monday.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
You're Tuesday.
I will.
Yes. Talking about pro, bro. Yes.
Did I miss a joke? Somebody had a good joke?
High school haircuts.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Back in high school, I remember we had the hair, our hair was down to here. It was during that time. Now you didn't even cut your hair then. All right, on that note, I'll just open it up and, yeah, listen, we're on, obviously, the Raiders, and it's a big week. It's a rival week, so we're fired up about that. And another home game, which is good.
Steve, yesterday Drew talked about just making adjustments after that first drive. It seems like that's been a consistent thing with you guys. Is that based on what you're seeing, but also, like, I assume you got to have the guys that can sort of change
Yeah,
on the fly.
I would put it right back on them, Sam. Like we're very fortunate, we being the whole defensive staff, in that we have real cerebral guys. I mean, Drew's right up there, Nick. I mean, they come over, they see things, feel things, hear things out there that I can't hear. And they're always relaying it. And then, and Brendan and Joe and Dave and Matt and all the coaches they kind of get together. We did a good job with that. I mean, we kind of hang our hat on that, hope to do it at every game. Because, all these teams that script these, it gets tough, because there's people moving all over the place. And it's usually things that we haven't seen or worked on. But our guys do a good job of settling in.
I know you're on the Raiders, but the first touchdown I got called back was kind of a unique situation.
Yeah.
The refs have a conference and everything. What's going on with you and Andy and talking to them, and how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, I'm distraught that they scored, first of all, because that's the first thing. I remember the rule now. It didn't pop in my head at that moment. Because I don't even remember if he got under, if he was out of the gun. I couldn't, I just saw the motion, and what I remember from the play is I thought Trent McDuffie, he almost stopped it, but he was out there by himself. There was something else that should have happened defensively, and we got that all squared away. But I thought the effort he gave to almost get that thing defended. I mean, Goff did a great job getting in there. But, listen, I was happy that we were very fortunate on that play that it went that way, and it resulted in a field goal instead of a touchdown.
Was your sideline hollering out to them, hey, check this, or did they kind of figure it out?
From my standpoint, I remember them, they just figured it out. That's the way I remember it. I couldn't tell you if anybody else on the back was saying, hey, that's a penalty. But I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yesterday, Drew Tranquil mentioned Joe Cullen's run meetings. Can you talk about how those have really kind of set the stage for the week in defending the run?
Yeah, we every coach on our staff has an area. Joe's is the run game. Brendan on the same day does play action pass and drop back pass on first and second down. Dave Merritt third down. Matt red zone, and everybody. Rod's involved in all that. But Joe kicks it off. Joe's got some energy to him. So, but I think the credit really goes to the players get dialed in. Right from the beginning on Wednesday morning, because we always begin, no matter what team we're facing, with stopping the run. I say it all the time, if they're two-dimensional or can be two-dimensional, that's tough on us, so let's try to make it a one-dimensional game.
Where are you seeing growth in the pass rush when you bring 4 or less?
Growth?
No blitz, yeah. How you evaluate?
Well, yeah, I thought as the game, I think Andy might have mentioned this, but as the game wore on, because I thought Detroit did a good job early, where we didn't get some pressure. They decided that one drive where they were just going to throw it, and they had some success, and he maybe had a little more time than we really wanted. But I thought as the game got rolling and our guys got used to who they were going against, I thought it got better. So hopefully it'll keep going like that. Hopefully we can begin that way.
How much of that was you talk about complementary football, and obviously you guys are getting stops to get them off the field, and he can be maybe a little more conservative or put it back, but when the offense gets going and when you get that, you basically got a double score.
That's, we love to be in that mode all the time. It does make a huge difference. You know, I call it a little bit differently. I think the guys on defense, they think a little bit differently, and they should. And most teams offensively, when they get in, you know, down 2 possessions, certainly down 3 possessions, you're going to see a lot more passes. And I think our guys can pin their ears back and play it as such. And again, it goes back to that's headed toward the one-dimensional. And that's a team thing. It's complementary football, just like you said, Sir.
Last couple, we'll go Harold and then Matt.
When it comes to Shamari and Brian, they had mentioned both just the communication at the beginning, but now it's progressed.
Yeah.
And, you know, how have you seen it from your eyes, just how they progressed back there to not only fix communication, but play pretty decent?
Yeah, I think both those guys had really good, solid games. I mean, Brian tackled well. Chamari always tackles well. He had a bunch of tackles, right? And listen, I know you asked, Sharon, I think you might have asked me last week about Noel Williams not playing a lot, and it was matchups and the whole thing, and this particular game was different. And where I'm going with it is it forces Chamari to play in 2 different spots. He plays the nickel, then he goes back there, and he plays safety. So for him to be able to do that and work with Brian says a lot about Chamari, and we value him and the fact that we can do both things with him. But I thought both those guys communicated and played really well in the game.
In that tackle spot next to Chris, especially, how do you feel like Derek has been kind of handling that since he came back?
Yeah, I rely heavily on Derek with regards to. I trust him. I mean, he knows what we're doing. I know he's going to be where he's supposed to be, and he handles his gap. And you know, now we don't put Derek in the rush to passer because that's not his. But I think for what we're asking him to do, I think he's done a solid job for us. And we need that from those inside guys. I mean, you guys see it during the game. I mean, Chris can't be out there every down. So at some point, Joe's got to give him a break, and then the next 2 guys that go in there got to kind of hold the fort down until Chris gets back in there.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, okay, good.
Had to bring it up,
Third time.
Please can keep it in the locker room.
Harold.
Yeah, he went to the locker room. It was not a target-rich environment.
No.
But Justin and I got who we were looking for. Was that military? Military language? Sure. What's that? Target-rich environment. Target-rich environment. That's probably more of an Air Force thing. Navy pilot. Top gun. I have to work who's you in wasn't.
I had to talk to that.
Oh, I know. Yes, the ego will stay with us. That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
you're signing now.
All right, fire away.
Hey, Matt, when you bring a team together, maybe you don't always know how it's all going to come together, but these receivers really seem to like each other.
Yeah.
Have you sensed that? Have you noticed that this year?
I really have. It's a really cool. Everyone throws around the word culture. It's like the relationships that these guys have built. Obviously, winning helps, but this has gone back to OTAs and then training camp, where it started, and it's something that's special. We've talked about it in the last couple of weeks. What these guys have done in that wide receiver room. There's only one football. And so statistically, these guys are going to have a certain amount of plays or catches, for example, or touchdowns. You look at a guy like Thornton last week. He didn't have a catch. So important to this offense and what he's done. He's a team player, great kid. And the guys are just embracing that, and we're having fun. It's selfless football, and it's every day. It's not just pick and choose, and I think that's just a credit to those players for embracing that, understanding it, and then when you win, it certainly makes it a ton of fun.
What will it mean to inject Rasheed into what you guys have going on?
So Rasheed, his growth from rookie year to last year, unfortunately getting hurt, to now this year, I think the word is just exciting, for the optimistic. The kid has done so much on and off the field to better himself, both as a person and a player. And I think you feel that and see that with the love and the friendship that these guys have internally. You see that, you feel it. So, I have to get goosebumps just thinking about when he goes out there and what he does to this offense. And there's an excitement that you have. You got to remember now, he hasn't played for a little while. So there's a little bit of some realness to it too. But that's the beauty of what Brett Veach and Coach Reed have done with the depth that we have in this offense. And, I think it's been well stated that there haven't been a whole lot of plays or games that the three of those guys have played together, and now we get a chance to do that.
Matt, with a player like Max Crosby, how mindful do you have to be of that in your play calling, and how do you approach that?
You have to, and in the off season, the Kelsey brothers, and they did that little deal, that interview with me. They asked me, who's one of the most important defensive or toughest defensive players that you go against, and Max Crosby's right there. So anytime, you're talking about a ton of players and somebody that just does he goes 100% of the time, all the time, and it's relentless. And so he's a game changer. He can affect the game. And so just a ton of respect, and you got to know where he's at on every play.
With him mostly lining up on the left, I guess, how have you seen Jawan grow and the confidence he had in this particular matchup?
Well, it's been good. I remember, just going back and looking at Jawan when he was a free agent, and they've had some battles now prior to Kansas City, before Jawan was here. They've gone at it, and so it'll be a test. I have a ton of confidence in JT, and I know he respects the heck out of Max, and so it's a good battle.
Matt, with Rasheed, how have you just seen him off the field through this whole roller coaster this last 6 months or so? Because he didn't know when he was going to be suspended. He was at camp, and kind of up and down, and especially the last 3 weeks that he's been here.
Yeah, no, the person that I see, and just kind of him understanding what he did wrong, and part of that when you go through that is you got to be able to accept that and understand that what happened was not right, but you got to be able to learn from that And I think when you can do that, that's a powerful message, and he's done that. And his growth as a football player, which is where I see him most, that's the part where, like, he wants to grow on how to learn and grow on how to run a sail route or a corner route or a quick, post route, 5-step, little things like that are first world problems for everybody else. For him, it's something that he can keep growing with. So I love where he's at, and kid has a smile on his face every day, and he's ready to rock and roll.
Matt, with the receiving depth and the way the line seems to have been coming together, what are you seeing in Patrick's level of just confidence and trust in everything around him?
It's on another level. The trust, that trust is powerful. You got to have that. You want to be able to take shots downfield. Well, you can't do that if you don't have protection. You want to be able to take shots downfield. You got to have the guys that together can attack a defense. So you put that together, and then you put Patrick back there, and these guys are just they're executing at a high level right now. And so as a coach, that's fun to be able to come in here on a Monday and put together and show them how we're improving. We're creating this identity. And, I just go back to eliminating those penalties. When we don't beat ourselves and just stay ahead of the sticks, we can do good things. But consistency, you have to be able to do that every week, and you can never get complacent. So those two words, I think, go hand in hand. And if we do that, we stick together, we keep that edge, it can be a special, special year.
Do you think it's fair to say that Patrick's comfort and trust is, higher than it's been in a while with everything around him?
100%. 100%.
Last three, start with Sam.
Matt, with Jalen Moore, can you just describe what the difficulty of that assignment of learning that late that he's going to play and maybe not gotten all the first team reps during the week and plugging in there?
Right. Well, I'd say two things. So number one, the good thing about him coming here is that he does have experience. Number two, he's mentally strong, so he's always prepared, knowing that he's that guy at any moment that can go in there. And then the third part, too, is Coach Heck does a great job of being able to rotate guys in practice. And so you throw all those three together, and then all of a sudden you get kind of a short notice, quick deal that, hey, you're going to start and play against one of the best defensive ends in the game. What a credit to him. And he just stayed true and time tested, and I think it was a pretty cool moment after the game when he broke down the huddle. The huddle was pretty cool.
Matt, your name's been associated with the Tennessee Titans job. Not the first time that your name's been associated with those jobs. What do you do with that?
I'd say, you start off with, for me, like you just said, I've been through this situation before, and I think it's very, very important that knowing that, you got to figure out ways how to navigate it. And so every coach is a little bit different on how they do that. And for me, going through it before, what I've learned is that you want to make sure that you are preparing the right way, and when you prepare, that's in the off season. So that said, it's very, very important that you stay in the moment and you don't lose focus on anything else. And it's the social media world right now can get crazy, and there can be a lot of things said, but it's only fair to your peers, your players, coaches, etc., that you stay true to them, you stay in the moment, and then when the time does come, you look forward to it. But the time's not right now, so I'm all. What we have going on right now in this building, and I've been here for going into 9 years, 5 and now 4. It's something that's different in a good way, and so I love being a part of it. I love coming here, being with these guys every day, and man, it's just awesome.
Matt, you did prepare for it in the off season, like this is something.
Yeah. I think that's important to do.
Last one, Zach.
Coach Reed mentioned Mark DeLeon and how he's helped you a little bit from a defensive perspective. Can you talk a little bit about his role?
For sure. Mark DeLeon, again, goes back to his defensive side of the ball here with Coach Sutton back in 13, 14, 15 when we were here. And so I think it's a unique role where you have somebody that has an expertise on defense that can come in and really help confirm and maybe tell us we're idiots sometimes when we think we know everything on offense that the defense is doing, and he can maybe help us out some, and he's been great with that. He pours a lot of time and energy into what he does, and I give Coach Reed a lot of credit for embracing that type of opportunity for him, and he's been a huge advantage this year for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
All righty. Well, great to see everybody. Raider week, beautiful day here for practice, and with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Joe, with running back like Genty and that offensive line, what are you having to combat and prepare for this week with the run game?
Well, I'll tell you what now, they do a great job. Coach Kelly and Coach Carroll, they've emphasized the run game, and Genty's, he can make all the cuts. I mean, you look at the Chicago game when he broke those long runs. You look at the Washington game, he had some great runs in there. Every week, he's gotten better and better. So it's all hands on deck, all 11. And we're going to have our hands full. He's a heck of a player. He was at Boise, and he's continuing to do it. He's got like 430 yards rushing and top 10 in the league. So we got our hands full, run and pass.
And with Chip Kelly, how have you seen him evolve from when he was at Oregon to where he's at now as a play caller?
Well, I think I've known Chip for 37 years. I played at UMass. He was at New Hampshire. He's a phenomenal schemer, offensive coach. He's going to put his players in best positions to make plays.
Coach, that spot next to Chris on the interior, how do you feel just in general about the production, especially with Derek?
Well, you know, Derek's a... Oh, there we go. Raider week. Okay.
Fired up.
Well, you know, with Derek, Derek's the first, second down, run, stopping, nose tackle. But with him, with Omar, Omar's given some great reps in there. Early on in the year, the Eagles game against Philadelphia, he had his first career sack. And then obviously in the Giant game, he had 22 snaps and played the run and the pass well. So, and Jerry Tillery's done some good jobs. A good job in there. So it's an ongoing process, and those guys are going to continue to get better.
Joe, Drew Tranquil mentioned the run game meetings that you kick off the week with. Can you just talk about your goals and what you like to do with it?
Well, everything starts, with Coach Spags gives us the goals for the week, and he, like I said before, Coach Spags does a great job. He empowers, he gives ownership to all the assistant coaches, not just the position coaches, but all the young coaches as well. They have a certain game plan part of the week that they have to present, and we have a little run game meeting. We spice it up and what our goals are, who we got to stop, how we're going to stop them, and it's just part of football.
Coach, during the preseason, there was a lot of talk about. I know pressures are important. It's not just about sacks. It seemed like there was a real kind of focus. Chris was talking about it. About pressures are great, but we got to get the quarterback down.
No question about it. We have the saying, pressures and hits are great, but we want him on his back. And, we had our opportunities, and we're continuing to get better. And usually, analytics will tell you that usually leads to sacks. We had some great tight coverage, the other night with Goff. He got rid of the ball 2.2, faster than anyone we've seen all year. So when you get rid of the ball, but then when the coverage is there, rush got to be there. And, Coach Spags had a great call at the end of the game. We locked him down. Chris had a great move inside, had him wrapped up. Charles cleaned him up. We had opportunities earlier to do that and didn't get him down. But it's just an ongoing. You got to keep getting better at it. When the coverage is there, rush has to be there. It goes hand in hand.
So how do you spice up the run game meetings? What is it you do to animate that so much?
Well, I think all the coaches do a great job with their area. We just, there might be some things in there that we put in and we talk about, but it's just, being creative with it.
Visual aids?
There's some visual aids. I like Mike Tyson. If we have to knock the run out, I want to show Mike Tyson knocking some people out.
Coach, I saw Chris Jones a bunch after that bad play, and everybody was talking bad about him. He was with you a lot. Can you talk about the relationship you have with your guys and helping them get through tough times?
Well, I learned this from my mentor a long time ago. You're only as good as your last play. That last play, that particular day, we weren't very good. Coaching me and then playing. It wasn't just Chris, but you got to put that behind you and learn from it and move forward and give your best effort the next play. There was some great efforts leading up to that play when we got the quarterback down and should have got him down another time, but it was just one of those fluke things. And the thing that we try to stress from Coach Reed on down, Coach Spags does a great job of it. You never know when that play is going to come. So that play could come on the third play of the game, could come on the 63rd play of the game. You give everything you have till you can't give any more, and that doesn't happen. But Chris is as good as there is in the NFL at his position, and he bounced back great, and he had a great game last week. When we needed it the most in crunch time, he was there.
Last one here.
What other things are you're really working on? Right? Is sacks the number one thing just to get the quarterback on the ground? Is there other things that are points that you're working on that you feel
Every day in your technique. Every day in your technique. I mean, from the run game, when Spags asks you to drop, I mean, it's just ongoing. Every game.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if anybody else will, we argued Chris today. Yeah, Chris Jones is gonna be a part, even though he's not on the board. I double checked with the city.
That's why Jesse was so angry. He didn't see.
Jesse almost destroyed the board.
What?
It's like wrestling.
Almost destroyed the board.
Yeah, Dr. Maggie was barfing out about her job.
I think he had like a million thoughts.
Joe made me real upset.
Are you having a seizure?
I gotta go back and watch
You
this.
had to know this was coming. You finally got around to the edit and Nick made it. So you did prepare the house. It's a one level thing, right?
Get the interpreter in here.
I was like, where's? I wanted so bad to go. Is it me? It's it, right?
I'm just in different seats. I just rotate, man. Huh?
I was just kidding.
No, you're fine.
You're still standing just next to Jesse. That's right.
Yeah, just don't. Apparently Jesse had a little bit of rage moment. Meltdown.
Cold? Huh? Was it cold?
You know, he knocked this over in the middle of that sign of the deal.
You barely hear it.
Barely hear it.
Halt everything.
I'm excited to see him.
Oh, he's coming. Here he comes.
Play my
Yeah, he's coming.
Oh yeah.
Down,
Run in.
yeah, down the stretch.
Jesse on tape, that'll play out like Christina's will leave the tape recorder in the suitcase, the briefcase.
Briefcase.
How we doing?
Hey, Connor, can you just discuss the wide receiver room? It seems like they've become pretty close this year, maybe even more so than other years. Just what are you seeing from that?
Yeah, they're a very close group. Everyone gets along. The biggest thing I think is they all like to watch each other succeed. So they're each other's biggest fans, and they're truly just all brothers.
And how hard is that in a year like this where a lot of guys are producing and now Rasheed's coming back?
Yeah, I don't think it makes it easier now that they're all, like I said, they're all each other's biggest fans. They root for each other. They want to see each other succeed, so I think it makes it easier.
What have these last few weeks like been with Rasheed in the meeting rooms? I mean, I'm sure he's super anxious to finally practicing this week to get to play. What's he been like?
Yeah, he's been his old self. Rasheed, he's like you said, he's ready to go. He's been in the meetings, taking good notes. He always takes great notes, knows what to do. So yeah, he's his normal self.
To you, how did he look yesterday? I know it's not necessarily like the most rigorous practice, but just seeing him with the rest of the group for the first time.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks in good shape, and he's been doing what he's supposed to been doing since he's been gone. So yeah.
Well, last time we talked to you, I asked you just about the bad luck that you've had in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. How do you feel now on the brink of, for the first time really since you've been the receivers coach, of having all your guys together healthy?
Yeah, it's like you said, this is really probably the first time since I've been here that everyone's here, and the biggest part, I just hope everyone stays healthy and we can keep it going and kind of get a game streak going that way, not the other way. But yeah, I'm excited.
Just a follow-up to what Jesse was asking about how close this group is. As a former college wide receiver yourself, how unique is that to the wide receiver position group?
Yeah, sometimes they get bad. I mean, us receivers get some bad raps every once in a while, being, selfish and all that. But, like I think like I said earlier to him about just they're brothers. Like they really just love hanging out, love being with each other. Like when they're not in the building, they're doing something together outside of the building. So I think that's just special, and I enjoy being able to be a part of that and kind of help them do that.
Connor, when you watch the tape this year, I know it's essentially 3 games, but what do you appreciate most about Xavier's ability to be just a route runner, not necessarily be a guy that is just strictly up and down speed?
Yeah, I think sometimes not just even him, but some receivers when they come out from college into the pros, they kind of get a bad knock on them for being fast and thinking that they just only can do one thing just because they're fast. But I said it earlier too, I thought he did a good job this offseason of developing and improving on areas that me and him talked about going into the offseason. And everyone knows, and you can see it on tape, he's not just a straight line, I'm going to just run track out here. He's a football player, so it's great having him.
Were you trying to work in the offseason? Were you trying to work more on like short areas, like stuff, or was it more intermediate type of footwork routes? How do you get in and out of your break?
Yeah, I'd probably say like the second part, the intermediate. I think that's the hardest part for any receiver. That's probably the area where all receivers need to improve on, that intermediate area. And then just with him, just learning how to use his speed. Like, it's just like a pitcher. You don't want to just throw your fastball all the time. You need secondary pitches. So he has to learn how to, look like he's running 100 miles per hour, but really be running 80. So, and like I said, I think he did a good job in the offseason doing that.
Last one, anyone?
You mentioned that the receivers can sometimes have a stereotype of being selfish, but this group obviously has got the everybody got to eat motto.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like seeing that? I mean, is that something that you embrace too?
Yeah, I think, and I told the group at the start of the year, like, it doesn't matter if we win 2-0 or 100-0. I don't care if you guys get 100 catches or 0 catches. The most important part is to win. And I think they buy into that. The whole team does, and that's why we are who we are.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Sweet potatoes.
Oh, good choice.
First time eating food from
He's like, hurry up, get it in
You
there.
can tell he's looking at her like, what is this? So this is as clean as he ever looked for the next 4 to 5 minutes. Everything else
He's
is very
like
messy.
kind of curious, kind of not.
Right?
No.
He's like, okay. He's searching. He's looking through it.
Yeah, I think I need something true.
Yeah, right. So it's like, yeah. So I was telling her, I was like,
Nothing funny.
so now it's just
Everywhere. More sweet
yeah.
potatoes.
That's the nicest he was.
That's how I looked eating sweet potatoes from the crossbox.
I did not see him
So
run
that
back.
I
was,
think they were sweet
yeah,
potatoes.
that was really
Probably
good.
not last week.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That
It'll be 6 months next week.
well, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, it was the back, wasn't it? He's just watching football.
It's crap.
I like his arm over the side.
Yes,
The
yes.
other one was perched up.
It's like, hey man, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I'm taking one of them, the 2 of them together. Yeah, this is being like that.
His outfit's always coordinated.
Shout out to the girl.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Shout out to
The
Holly.
outfit thing. Sweet.
Give us some time to work out. In the room. How's your heart rate? You good?
I just calm. I took some deep breaths. Back. Now it's raised up again.
Hey, Joe, the receivers, they had us talk about how they seem to love each other. They seem to get along. I guess when you're around them, you see them a lot. How do we know that just from being around them? What do you see?
Yeah, I think it's a good observation, and anybody that's been around them in this room, or me, or any of the coaches, it's a genuine respect and admiration that they all have for each other. And when you have that respect for somebody else in your receiver room that's doing the same job, that comes to work, is prepared, it allows you to kind of appreciate the different skill sets that everybody has. And so there's no jealousy or rivalry. It's more of just a mutual respect, and then how can we all complement each other to have fun, play our best, and move the ball. So it's a true statement. They do get along great. I think it's built on that true respect.
Every room's different. Is this one maybe a little unique?
Yeah, the uniqueness, I think, is just people from different eras. You know, you have some veteran guys, you have some younger guys all across the country, and they've all come together. We've had guys who have grown up in our system and guys that have come from other places, and they've just gelled into this cohesive unit in 2025. So that aspect of it is a little unique.
Joe, can you describe the value? I asked this as Rasheed's coming back, but the value of yards after catch and the offense, obviously something you guys have been really good at.
Yeah, I think the value of it is, in a way, eliminating some third downs. And so when you have the yards after the catch, we're always trying to get explosive plays that move the chains. Sometimes the easiest or highest percentage throw is shorter, but if you can take that higher percentage completion and turn it into a yards after catch that moves the chains, you're just prolonging the drive, raising the likelihood that you're scoring points and staying out of those third downs where the potential is coming off the field. So I think in the grand scheme of things, we've been good on third downs, and we've been great having third and manageable third down shorter and staying sort of ahead of the sticks. But the yak really helps you, I think, keep continuing to move the chains.
So you've been waiting, obviously, to get all three of these guys on the field together. Is it a case of just like seeing them do the same things that have always been done, or is there 10, 20, 30% of the offense that you haven't been able to put out on the field that maybe's been sitting there for a year and a half, that just waiting for these guys to all be out there together?
Yeah, it's a matter of, I think that's accurate, but how we envision it and kind of how we see it, whether as coaches or even as a group, what you put out on the field and how it plays out is sort of a different thing each year, and with each of the guys that we have anyways. And so there is, without having these three guys be on the field together yet, we haven't been able to necessarily even see, you know, what assumptions that we were making were holding true, or what we could hang our hats on and then continue to build off of. So there is just an element of each year you got to develop a passing game and kind of find some staples and use guys to their best abilities and then complement off of that. Us being able to do that, and whether our vision for it or whether it takes a little turn and we go a different route, that part of it is what we're yet to see.
Couple more.
Not to ask this about a 35-year-old, but year over year, how have you seen Travis Kelce raise his game?
Yeah, I think a lot's been said about it. One of the things that I think is unique with Trav, especially at 35, he finds an ability to get better during the season. And so we're here in October, and sometimes guys, especially guys that know they're going to play, know they're going to have a lot of snaps, can go into each week of the season, like especially October, with sort of a self-preservation mode of just trying to maintain where they are physically and do it on Sunday. And so they don't really push themselves during the week. They try to save something back for Sunday. Trav continues to push himself Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and that allows him to get better. And so I think that's what's gotten him to this point, and he hasn't slowed that down. So even at his age and the years that he has, he's continuing to get better week to week. And so I think you're seeing it a little bit in the stats, but he's always done that. That's rare. The guys who are new, and especially the wide receivers that see him work, can take that as an example that just because the season starts, it's not all about Sundays. It really is what you do each day.
Last two, Nate.
Joe, before Patrick throws the ball, is there something that you're noticing this year that maybe most people aren't noticing?
Before he throws the ball, there's a comfort level in regards to him being familiar with the receivers. He doesn't necessarily need to check where all the guys are, how they're releasing, what they're doing on the second level. Sometimes when you have newer pass receivers and you see a look pre-snap that you know could raise some level of difficulty for the guy's route, you kind of just want to peek and just make sure he's all right. And as you go through the season with the same group of guys, he's had Xavier, he's obviously had Trav, with Rashid coming back and Hollywood playing the snaps, even Taekwon. There's a comfort level with no matter what type of look pre-snap is happening, those guys will get to the spot that they need to get to. So he doesn't need to necessarily just peek and make sure he can go through his normal progression. He can look at the defense rather than checking his own guys. And then I think that is a level of calmness that you're seeing. But I think that comes with just the familiarity with the receivers and him just knowing that they'll get to where they need to get to.
And Joe, Andy mentioned on Monday he recognized you and Matt for the game plan you put together this past week. For you as a coach, what makes it so unique when you guys are putting ideas together to create the game plan during the week?
The uniqueness is just trying to marry building off what you've done, staying a step ahead of the defense, and then still attacking that specific defense or the personnel that they're going to have each Sunday. So if it was just about attacking a defense, or if it was just about doing a little scheme different each week, that would be easy. When you're trying to marry it and then keep it manageable for the guys and keep it new for the defense, there's that aspect of when it does come together and you're able to showcase the talents that you have on your team and attack a defense, and it works, it's a good feeling.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Latte time.
It don't smell like a latte.
What are you doing?
I'm holding the door.
Oh. Gentlemen.
Yeah, one of these days don't know how to say thank you. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Well, you said it later after I like. It's okay. It's completely fine. Completely.
Go for Chris.
Chris, over the past couple of weeks, you faced some really good running backs and helping. The Lions under 100 yards, Jaguars that's under 50. You face another one in Genty this week with the Raiders. Just what has been the success of the running back defense for you guys?
Joe Cullen, he's our run game coordinator, and he's been putting us in the right position to capitalize on the plays.
Just that simple. It's more unique and involved than just
Well, I think with your run game coordinator, they kind of have to display the runs throughout the week for you, right? And as you build a repetition throughout the week, you kind of know what's coming. So for us, it's a reality in the game, and we're able to be in our spots and capitalize on it.
Chris, when you were a young guy, who was the veteran that spoke in the meetings that you kind of took influence and took tips from? And have you used some of that to be that guy now for this particular group?
Well, I had a lot of older guys. Alan Bailey, Dontari Poe was more so one of the guys who didn't speak a lot, but when he did speak, it was very powerful. Eric Berry. And you take a lot from guys like that over the years, and the good and bad, and you see how you can influence your group as you get older, and push the best out of individuals.
Chris, what have you seen from Charles Omenihu this year compared to last year?
He had 2 sacks in back-to-back weeks.
Keep him on that trend. Keep his spirits high and a positive mind frame. Charles, we can utilize Charles in multiple sets for us. He can be a great asset for us, especially in the long run in the playoff. He can play defensive end, defensive tackle when he put his mind to it. But yeah, we got to keep Charles in good spirits. Keep him going.
It looked like on the field that he maybe thanked you for that sack that he had.
Listen, man, it's a lot of layups going around these days. Man. I'm giving out a lot of layups. You look at the back-to-back weeks, Charles came under me in Jacksonville, got a layup. Look, last week I missed a sack, he got a layup. But as long as it stays in the D-line room, we don't give them to the DBs and the linebackers, you know. That's a whole nother story.
Not a reflection on anybody that's still here, but what do you guys miss with Mike Pennell?
Everything, and hopefully, you know, life do a full circle and we get my guy back. Mike Pennell is a heck of a locker room guy. And, you know, so many things I can say about my brother. We got to get my brother back.
Chris, I know you guys have got a nice turnover ratio, but you probably don't have many turnovers as you guys would like to have on defense. What's the key to getting more of those?
4-man pass rush. You got to get the front four going, creating havoc. If we can get pressure on the quarterback with our front four defensive linemen, then we can force them to throw the ball quick or throw eerie throws and feed the DBs.
Chris, when you see the Lions and you see Jared Goff going motion, I'm just curious, you know, you'll register in your head, okay, we talked about this is what's, you know, they're probably doing, or are you just still going straight forward after whoever?
Well, you know, Dan Campbell is such an intriguing coach. We knew something out of the ordinary was going to happen. We just didn't know when. And, you know, I honestly didn't know that play was called back. I thought they was going for it for 2 when we was going back on the field, but I realized they called it illegal motion because the quarterback under center, and when you leave, you have to be set for a second, then run the play. And I think he was still motioning when they snapped the ball, so I thought they actually scored. But we knew something was going to happen with Dan Campbell.
Chris, do things feel different this week with it being Raider week? Is that like more intense for you guys, just with that being a rivalry?
For us right now, I think everything is super intense. I think we're at 500 right now. We just got to 500. We was under 500 a week ago. So everything right now for us is intense. And, you know, there's a huge sense of urgency around the building individually also. So I think everything is magnified, whether it's play calling, whether it's execution, or just flying to the ball with us right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sid.
You know, like Drew Trinkle, like.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV 5 News. Welcome into another episode of Destination Heartland. So, who is ready for another virtual trip? Today, we're not going too far, just about 45 minutes down the road to the home of the Jayhawks, Lawrence. So, right now, I want to go ahead and bring in, there she is, Kimberly Anspach. And Kimberly is Executive Director of Explore Lawrence. Kimberly, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share more about Lawrence with you.
And we have so much to share. So let's jump right in. If you had to describe Lawrence in 3 words to someone who's never been there before, what would you say?
Oh, I would say quirky, unexpected, and welcoming.
And, what is the first thing that you tell people when they talk about Lawrence and they're thinking about going there? What should they visit?
Well, we have such a variety of things to do and attractions that I really need to understand what they're interested in. Like, if you're a sports lover, I'm going to send you to Allen Fieldhouse, to the Cathedral of Basketball. But if you're into history and want to learn more about Lawrence's fiery past, I'm going to tell you to start your journey at the Watkins Museum of History over at 11th and Massachusetts Street. And then if you just want to soak in the vibes that make Lawrence unmistakable, you're going to need to spend your afternoon on Mass Street shopping and dining and getting a good cup of coffee.
It is truly a place that has something for everyone. Let's start here. Let's talk about the history, because Lawrence has had some key moments that shape the history of not just here in Kansas, but American history.
Yes. Back in 1863, Lawrence was the site of the largest domestic terrorism event prior to 9/11, when William Quantrell and his raiders came across the border and burned our town, sacked it, and killed a good portion of our male settlers. So we have absolutely some fiery history for you to explore, and we do have sites that you can visit to learn more about that history. And we also have some great walking tours of sites of Quantrell's raid that you can experience and walk through on your own, or during our Civil War on the Border event, you can do that with a guided tour as well.
Yeah, and it was Bleeding Kansas that was basically a key role in the Civil War.
Yes. So when the Kansas and Nebraska Act was passed by Congress, it opened up the Kansas Territory to a popular vote of whether we entered as a free state or as a slave state. And we had settlers come over from Massachusetts with the New England Immigrant Aid Society and set up Lawrence solely for the purpose of populating it with abolitionists sympathetic to the free state cause. And what made Lawrence so contentious during that time was we also had the constitutional government over in Lecompton that was the other side of that story. And so part of the work we do at Explore Lawrence is really telling Douglas County's really complicated history in that Civil War era with the Lecompton Constitution Hall and then those Free Staters over here in Lawrence.
That is awesome. And, you talked a little bit about historical markers and historical sites. So what are some of the must-see places that people should go when they visit Lawrence?
Yes, so speaking in Lawrence and Douglas County terms, I'm going to tell you to check out the Blackjack Battlefield. That's outside of Baldwin City, actually. That is the site of a skirmish between John Brown and some pro-slavery settlers that kind of really, some historians will say, is the first battle of the Civil War. And then after that, you need to come over and you need to go to the Watkins. They will get you all oriented of everything that you need to see. And then I would have you next head to the Eldridge Hotel, because that is where William Quantrell and his men set up shop during the raid. And that hotel was burned down twice in our history by pro-slavery settlers and rebuilt twice.
Oh, wow. That is really a neat part of history that you can take part in and see in person. Now, the other part of Lawrence that's kind of synonymous when we talk about Lawrence is Jayhawk country, University of Kansas. That is a large part of the community there. Just talk a little bit